Hello, I'm Persolaise and you are watching episode 8 of Love at First Scent. I think we should start by smelling a perfume. Now, this one we kind of need to take our time to get into because the packaging is actually almost a work of art in itself. Some of you may have noticed that in the previous episode that I posted a few weeks ago, this one was already on the table. I'd just received it, I think, a couple of days before the previous episode of Love at First Scent. But I didn't open it in the previous episode, and I still haven't smelt it. Honestly, I haven't. So I thought we really ought to open with this one, just so that I can show you this unbelievably lavish packaging. Even though I'm not particularly well set up to show you packaging, but anyway, let's see do the best we can. So you've got lots of black and gold, beautiful sort of filigree insect wing design work on the outer sleeve. So the outer sleeve is dispensed with. Then you've got, I suppose, a fairly plain, ordinary looking box, but very, very heavy. So up comes the lid. Then this part of the box, if you can see, drops down. What shall I show you next? Bit of styrofoam. This is all going to fall apart in my hands, isn't it? This comes off, and now you start getting, can you see the sort of shiny reflective quality of that surface? Very, very discreet Lalique logo. And then you have to, I'm going to get rid of this box. Then you have to press this little release here, can you see that? To open the box, and you get this inside, which is rather special. So even though I'm not a packaging freak, little booklet as well, which we may have a look at in a minute, even though I'm not a packaging person, and I'm not really even a bottle person, I must admit this is pretty spectacular. And then of course the bottle itself looks a little bit like this. So it echoes the insect wing pattern that I showed you on the outer sleeve. It's got the Lalique logo on the cap. Maybe we'll find out from the press release what the shape is actually meant to resemble, but it's one of the few bottle shapes that are meant to be unisex, but also, in my opinion, genuinely manage to be unisex, because I don't think there's anything particularly about this that, according to our aesthetic codes, screams especially masculine or especially feminine. So, without any question, top marks for packaging and presentation, but let us smell the perfume. It's called Illusion Captive. Can you see that? Which I guess means captive illusion. For some reason, don't know why I think it might mean that. Which I was actually thinking is a very good name for perfume itself, because in a way, a perfume is an illusion that's captive in a bottle, and then we release it, but it remains an illusion, and then it disappears as time passes. Right, let's have a smell. You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking that having enjoyed this fantastic presentation, you really hope the perfume is going to live up to it, and I'm going to be able to just keep smiling and go, it's really, really good. Lalique's output is, I guess, inconsistent is probably the fairest way of putting it. They have some real gems, and then they come out with a few things where you think, okay, did everybody just lose their sense of smell for a while they were working on this particular release? So let us see what this one is going to be like. And I should also say, you may have clocked it just there, this is part of their Noir Premiere range of exclusive scents. Ross says, love the bottle. Yeah, so do I. The bottle is pretty stunning. Anyway, let's have a look. And then when we sniff this one, I'll say a proper hello to you. But I thought we may as well just get into the smelling first. Hope you're all well, by the way. Right, ooh. Definitely something quite rich and heady heading my way already. oriental florals. It's quite sweet to start with, but not at all in a sickly way, you know, so don't be put off. This isn't caramel and sugar bomb and red currants and all the rest of them. This is a sophisticated sweetness that comes, I guess, from some kind of an amber note. I almost want you to go away for a second so I can think about this, but of course that's not the point of these episodes. It smells like some of the more delicious, more delectable women's scents of the 80s. I'm thinking of Cartier's Must, that chocolatey feel that somehow manages to be both dark chocolate and white chocolate at the same time, by which I mean it's got that kind of slightly ditzy sweetness to it, but it is rooted in real sophistication. So this could be some kind of truffle composed of two halves, one half of which is cheap, no, cheap isn't the right word, but indulgent white chocolate that you don't need to sort of worry about taking too seriously, but the other half of it is a very, very serious, almost liqueur-filled dark chocolate, you know, like 90% cocoa. And a very, very, very smooth floral note, something like jasmine. Citrus is at the top, but not in the sense that this is a citrus perfume. You just get, and I don't know why, but I'm immediately also getting visions of 80s perfume advertising imagery. If you can imagine, I mean, I don't even know if there was a perfume advert like this, but if you can imagine like a kind of typical 80s advert where a woman with a bare back has been shot from behind, and she's got very, very long, straight brown hair coming halfway down her back. You don't see her face, obviously, so all you've got is this perfect skin, beautiful back, beautiful hair, and maybe like a sort of arm draped across a sofa, so you see her shoulder, you see her arm extending off the it's so I guess maybe what I'm looking for is glamour. It's got a kind of 80s glamour feel to it, which goes well with the bottle. A few comments before they vanish off my screen. Linda says, your initial reaction has me intrigued about this one. Yeah, I'm definitely intrigued as well. And Barbara, hello, says, love the shirt. Thank you very much. This is my concession to Halloween. This is as pumpkin-like as I'm willing to go. I don't really do Halloween, but this is me doing Halloween. So now you get to think of me as a perfume-smelling pumpkin. I'll be intrigued to see how this one develops. Let us have a look at the press release. Now, of course, the press release, because this is Lalique's exclusive range, the press release has to be pretty spectacular as well. So that insect wing pattern is echoed here on the cover of the press release. I can't read you every single word because it's quite long, but let me see if I can find the relevant sections. So are you sitting comfortably? Gosh, where do you start? Okay, so there's a lot here about the actual about this actual Noir Premier range. Okay, so the collection, right? This is me being stupid. I should have looked in the part that actually said it was going to be about this perfume. Right, let us have a look. Oh, first of all, okay, we get the name of the perfumer. It's Karine Dubreuil-Sereni, who's, I think, made at least one other perfume for Lalique. Very good. As diaphanous as the wings of a dragonfly, as sensual as the curves of a woman's body. Interesting. Illusion Captive offers a shimmering olfactory translation of the masterpiece that inspired it. And I guess somewhere else in here I would find out what was the masterpiece that inspired it. This is like a puzzle, this press release. Okay, here we go. Okay, so it's all coming together. It's inspired by a dragonfly brooch from 1898, an iconic piece of Art Nouveau jewellery. Illusion Captive is an ambery chypre fragrance enhanced by fresh Italian bergamot and a sheer floral heart. Okay, so the dragonfly business makes sense. What else have we got? The fragrance takes flight in the golden light of Italian bergamot, filtered through the milky green of fig leaves. Yeah, possibly, but this isn't really a perfume that is about top notes. It's very much about the dry down. Quivering under the burning breeze of cinnamon from Ceylon, it unfurls its translucent wings iridescent with rose and jasmine sambac. Like translucent enamel, showcased by the darker veins of the cloisonné, these luminous fruit and flower accords are set in a Virginian cedarwood and Indonesian patchouli base. Yeah, I'll go along with the cedarwood, probably a suggestion of that kind of lemony wood that you get from cedar. In the dry down, Sister Slabdunum, vanilla, tonka bean and myrrh add their burnished golden glow to this soaring sillage. For once, a press release that actually makes a bit of sense. I won't read more. Okay, so here we've got an image of the dragonfly brooch. How can I show it to you? Let's see if you can see that. Does that work? No, there's too much glare from the lights. Okay, you can kind of see it there. You get an idea. Very, very Art Nouveau, very end of the 19th century. So yes, this one could well be Love at First Scent, at which point I should now properly say hello to all of you and thank you very much for tuning in. In case you are new to this little game that we play, I should explain to you that the idea behind these Love at First Scent videos is that they're a sort of counterpoint to the writing on my blog and various other outlets. When I write a perfume review, I take time to think about the perfume, I wear it, I smell it on other people, etc., etc. But Love at First Scent turns all of that on its head, because the point is to smell perfumes that I haven't smelt before and give you an instant reaction. As regular viewers will know, quite often I cheat and I smell things in front of you that I have had a previous sniff of, but it's just because I want to bring them to your attention. If you are watching live on Facebook, thank you very much for tuning in. Please feel free to give me thumbs up and hearts and all the rest of it, and please feel free to interact. In the last episode, we had lots of great interaction with people asking questions. Karina says, good evening. Good evening to you, Karina. Yeah, it is evening here as well, which kind of makes me think, so where are you? And what was fantastic in the last episode is that lots of people started telling me where they're watching from, which was really wonderful. I think we pretty much covered the entire globe, because after this the episode was uploaded to YouTube, which is what I'll also do with this one in a few days' time. I'm pretty sure I got somebody telling me there that they were based in Australia, and I got somebody from Brazil and North America, and I think South Africa, so that's pretty good going. And the wonders of the internet and modern technology, which means that we can all be interacting with each other like this. But yeah, after the live broadcast, the video will remain on Facebook as well. Linda says 1:13 p.m. in Chicago, not far from where one of my best friends lives. And I've never even been to the States. I would love to come one day. Thank you so much for tuning in, Linda. I hope the weather's okay there. It's all turned very, very cold here now. And the YouTube upload will take place in a few days' time. So if you're watching on YouTube, please consider giving me a thumbs up and leaving a comment. I try to answer all of the comments. We will see how this one develops as we progress. I should also just tell you that this is probably going to be the last Love at First Scent for a little while. That's why I kind of tried to sneak this one in almost at the last minute, because this is the time of year when things become rather hectic for me with other stuff that I do. Oh, comments flying past. Somebody says, I've missed who it was, somebody from Pennsylvania in the States. Thanks for wearing the pumpkin shirt. You're very welcome. Thanks for tuning in. And Linda says, yucky and cold today, but you'd be welcome in our fair city. Thank you very much, and you would be welcome in mine. I daren't ask if it's windy, because that would be resorting to a cliche. And whoever it was that said they're in Pennsylvania, I will see the comment later on, so I'll find out who you were. But yeah, as I was saying, things step up a gear with other completely non-perfume related things that I do at this time of year. So I thought I'd better do this Love at First Scent now, because probably the next one I will be able to do won't be until maybe the first or second week of December. Now, this is when the smiles are going to vanish. Well, for me anyway, momentarily. So don't go away. I ummed and ahed about doing this one. Oh, somebody's crying. Oh, is that because I said I can't do one for a while? Don't worry, it won't be long. I ummed and ahed about doing this one here, and I thought, no, do I really want to do it? Maybe that's going to sort of spoil the tone. But in the interests of balance, in the interests of fairness, I am going to do it. Joe says, hi Persolaise, do le Frenchy, please. Yes, I would like to. That's this one here. So, okay, promise. I will do this one. I will do le Frenchy, but not next. Thank you for tuning in, Joe. I would like to do the latest from Creed. I have smelt this one before. I just about managed to recover from smelling it. And I know there may be a few people out there who know me, who might be watching this and rolling their eyes and thinking, oh God, here we go, he's going to go off on his Creed roll again. And they'd be right. I don't have a huge amount of time for the House of Creed. I'm not the only perfume critic who doesn't have much time for the House of Creed. There are lots of people who like the House of Creed. Some of us would like to play the big bad wolf and blow it right down. But I do approach every single release from Creed with an open mind, to the extent that when this one arrived a little while ago, I actually didn't smell it, and I put it together with 4 or 5 other newish releases that had arrived, and I asked my wife, my long-suffering and very patient wife, to spray the 5 perfumes, one of which was the new Creed, on blotters so that I could smell them blind. And maybe I just have a very, very sensitive Creed radar, because even though I hadn't smelt it before, I immediately decided that it was my, by far, the least favourite of the 5 perfumes I was smelling blind. You can tell this is going to a thumbs up, to thumbs down rather, thumbs down. Linda says, to tell us how you feel about the House of Creed. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Creedar, yeah, my Creedar is finely tuned and very, very sensitive. Joe says, I've got mixed feelings about the House of Creed. A house built on hype. Yes. Thank you, Joe. I knew I could rely on you. If there is somebody out there who likes Creed, I know the husband of a good friend of mine loves Aventus, and we almost had a punch-up about Aventus when we met up in August. I know Aventus was a huge hit for Creed. That's fine. My ultimate message on anything like this is, if you enjoy it, you carry on wearing it and take pleasure from wearing it, and don't listen to what other people, perfume critics included, say. Oh no, you said the A word. Yeah, sorry, see, I did it. I did. What do you think of the A word perfume, Joe? So, ultimately, wear what you like. If you like the A word, a lot of suits love Aventus, Karina says. Yes, they do. And maybe if they actually tried other things, I don't know, they may realise that Aventus would kind of go down in their estimation. But all of this interaction is kind of now making me lose my train of thought. But I feel my blood boiling because I'm almost scared to spray this, and I hadn't realised how well it would go with my pumpkin shirt. Let's think of this as Creed's pumpkin perfume. So yeah, where was I going? Wear what you like. If you enjoy wearing it, carry on wearing it. But this is my show, and I get to say what I think. This is called Viking. And you know, I just said that I first smelt it blind. What I then did as well was, a few days later, I kind of snuck it up on my wife. I sprayed a bit on my arm, and as I quite often do when I get samples, I sprayed it and I sort of went to her and I said, what do you think? And she just went, what kind of cheap, nightmarish bleep is this? Oh look, the bottle doesn't even want to open. See, Creed doesn't want to play with Persolaise. Right. I've already seen a few reviewers saying, this one's not so bad, you know. I think, yes it is. It's worse than that. Right, this whole room is going to stink of Vikings. I bet Vikings smelt more interesting than this. At least I know that the esteemed Luca Turin, Ross says, Viking no. What do you mean? As in, you've already smelt it and you don't like it, or you do like it? Oh, see, this is already just making me think. Read the face. Read the face. Joe says, be brave, spray on your arm. No, I don't want to do that now because I don't want to spoil the experience of the other ones. I can't do that. That would contaminate my smelling mechanism or something. Oh, sad name, says Ross. Yeah, not the most inspired name. Karina says, I think Vikings smell of mead and fermented fish with a dash of style. You smelled this blotter already, haven't you, Karina? No fish here. Okay, what is it about this one? And Creed fans will probably be thinking, but what's the batch code? Which is, of course, an in-joke if you are a Creed person, because everybody sort of says that the actual composition changes from one batch to another. I can't work out what is the batch. This is already just making me go, do you know what? It feels like I've stepped into the worst aspects of the 70s, where now I just want to curl up and cry. Where's the Lalique? No, let's do this. I can do this. It smells of, maybe that's how it does smell of Vikings, because it smells of men who kind of act as though they don't give a damn about what anybody else thinks of them, and if they want to smell of BO, and if they want to raise their arms and expose their armpits to everybody else on the bus or on the train or on the underground, and they want to radiate their stinky manliness to the rest of the world, and they're just going to do it, and everybody else just has to put up with it because they're testosterone-y, stinky, smelly men who are going to stand with their legs far apart because that's what stinky, smelly men do. And it's just depressing. It is depressing, and what's even more depressing... Sorry, I can't do this. Enough. I can't. End of episode. No. What's even more depressing is that it comes from a brand that really should know better. Now, okay, let me try and be a little bit more objective about this. There is a kind of gag-inducing... The smell of manspreading, says Linda. Yes. And the only person who thinks that manspreading is okay is the guy doing the manspreading. And he just needs to be taught a lesson about how he's not the only person on the planet. And just because his mum told him he was special when he was growing up doesn't mean he's that special. And he should have a little bit of consideration for the rest of humanity. Here endeth the lesson. But what was I saying? It's a kind of gag-inducing, somewhat marine-like mint note, but not a kind of mint that has ever actually grown out of the ground or of fresh soil in any way. Linda says thank you. No, thank you. Let's just thank each other. Let's just end manspreading. I don't know why I keep smelling this. So, no, because I'm trying to tell you what's in it. That's why I'm smelling it. So, sickly mint, but not even mint that smells cheap like you've stepped into the shower gel aisle of your local supermarket. It's because that actually can smell quite fresh and invigorating and zippy and friendly. This is just foul because it's got that fetid... Anne says, vomited mojito into the ocean. You need to come and sit here and do this episode for me, Anne, because, yeah, it's that kind of description. Sorry, it's that kind of smell. You've taken the words right out of my mouth, but maybe you felt the pain in my face conveying how this is making me feel, and you just thought, mojito vomit. But let's extend your fantastic analogy and say that the mojito is not being vomited into the ocean, but onto a surface that's kind of like a wood laminate, but isn't actually wood, because there's nothing real about this at all. It is so crassly synthetic. Have you worked out yet that I don't like it? Let's have a look at le press release. Viking. This autumn, the House of Creed introduces the masterfully crafted Viking. A valiant men's fragrance. Well, it's certainly valiant, I'll give it that. Yeah, it takes a lot of yeah. A valiant men's fragrance that bottles the fearless spirit of boundless exploration for the modern man who goes against the grain. Ross says, sounds like the ideal gift for someone you can't stand. Yeah, which brings me on to the price. Would you want to spend this much on a gift for someone you can't stand? How am I doing for time? Because I don't want the whole episode to go on Viking. I've already 25 minutes in. I have no idea where the time goes on this. It's because you're all entertaining me with your interaction. Comprised of 80% natural ingredients. Ooh. Yeah, I'd love to know how that 80% statistic was arrived at, but never mind. That's what they're saying. So on some level, it is going to be true. Viking was inspired by the incredibly crafted longships, a centerpiece of the Viking age and one of the greatest design feats of the 9th century. Thank you. A symbol of voyage and undeniable perseverance, longships were carefully designed for the skilled seamen who embodied unbridled determination to conquer. Viking is the brand's first major men's scent since the introduction of the cult best-selling Aventus, sorry Joe, in 2010. Olivier Creed, 6th generation master perfumer for the House of Creed, shares, and I quote, I wanted to create a totally new men's fragrance, but I failed. No, he didn't actually say that. That would capture a different spirit than our Aventus, which stands for success and power. Being on the sea is my passion. I've always been fascinated by the architecture of longships and the people who sailed them. I was inspired by the unwavering commitment to discovering new territory, both physically and metaphorically. Bold, fearless and determined, the Viking man lives life full of purpose and never settles, because he's always busy manspreading. He pushes himself to be fearless in all aspects of his journey with the grit and vigour to break boundaries and to test people's patience, all in pursuit of the challenge and his thirst for discovery. And then there's stuff about the House of Creed. We don't need to read that. Anyway, what are the notes? Calabrian bergamot. Yeah, some make-believe version of Calabria. Sicilian lemon. Some make-believe version of Sicily. And bay rose from La Réunion. Heart notes of peppercorn, Bulgarian rose and peppermint. Bulgarian rose. What an insult to... Well, at least this was very entertaining, says Anne. Good. I'm glad. Save your money. It's just... Do you know, I think even lemon-scented detergents do a better job of conveying citrusy quality nowadays. Although this might actually smell quite good on my bathroom floor. It may be like a sort of, whoops, just broke that one, never mind. And then base notes of Indian sandalwood. Of course, this must contain tons of Indian sandalwood. Haitian vetiver, Indian patchouli, and I'm guessing this is a typo, but I'm just not going to read what's there, because okay. And now we come to what I was saying to Ross about buying this for somebody that you can't stand. This bottle here, the 50ml, will set you back £185. No. Just no. Don't do it. £185 at a time when, thankfully, we can still buy Cool Water from Davidoff, CK1 from Calvin Klein. My mind's going blank. Eternity from Calvin Klein. Something by one of the Luna Rossas from Prada. Lots and lots and lots of men's scents which come in at a fraction of this price and are considerably, significantly better. The intense version of the new Uomo from Valentino. I mean, actually, I could probably rattle off a list of almost every single men's release because they will pretty much all be better than this poor excuse for perfumery and this insult to our intelligence. So, yeah, I think we need to move on. Major thumbs down for this. The next time a Creed comes along, I will try to keep an open mind. I will try and smell it blind again so that I'm not kind of coming to it with my preconceptions. But major fail, epic fail, and they just need to stop doing this. Joe says, if it costs £185 for a small bottle, it can't be that bad, or can it? Do you know what? If at some point you guys smell this and you agree, disagree, I would love it if you could leave a comment. It's just nasty, actually. That is what it is. It is this leering, nasty man who thinks that he can just get away with whatever he likes in terms of his attitude to other people around him. Before we move on, let me just go back to the Lalique. Oh, God, it's like just stepping into a different universe. Thank God for that. Let's just calm down. Of course, now the Lalique seems like a masterpiece compared to... I'm just remembering passages in Luca Turin and Tania Sanchez's perfume guidebook, you know, the A to Z, where I think in one of the entries they talk about recalibrating, you know, smelling something that they really, really like, just when they kind of lose sight of their... Well, they think they've lost sight of their critical faculties and they need to recalibrate. And I think they mention using an old Guerlain as a recalibration device for the top end of the spectrum, and I'm pretty sure they mention a Creed as a recalibration device for the bottom of the end of the spectrum. So I guess the really good thing about Viking is that it helps you kind of get a baseline for how bloody awful things can be. And the Lalique is really charming, really delightful. There may be a slight hesitation, suggestion of something overly synthetic-y coming in through the base, but I would still happily smell this on somebody. Right. I feel like I need to recover from that now. Look, even my hair's getting all messed up and I don't want to touch it because if I play with it now, it'll probably get even worse. Now, I would like to smell one now that I genuinely don't know anything about, so may turn out to be another disaster. Joe says, for people who just joined this live session, Persolaise is not talking about Sécrétion Magnifique, it's Viking by Creed. Thank you very much, good point. And Ross says, glad to hear Viking has its use. Yeah, and it'll probably clean windows quite well, and mirrors, as long as they're not windows or mirrors that you have to smell. Anyway, at the half-hour mark, we need to move on. By the way, I will allow myself to let this episode become just a tiny bit longer than the other ones, just because it's the last one for a little while, so you know, you can always come back and watch the rest of it later if you have a life and have other things to do. But before we move on, I should just say you are watching episode 8 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise. If you're watching live on Facebook, thank you very much. If you're watching after the live broadcast, thanks just as much. And if you're watching on YouTube, thank you to you as well. But please consider giving me thumbs up and hearts and leaving comments and all of that kind of thing, because they are very, very helpful. Right, I would like to move on to this, which is the latest from Puredistance. But I don't know why I'm actually zooming in onto it like that, because this isn't the actual packaging of it anyway. Thank you for all of the hearts that are flashing across now. I'm personally very intrigued by this Puredistance scent because it's called Warszawa, which is of course the actual Polish word, the Polish way of saying Warsaw, the capital of Poland. And as that is a city which is very dear to my heart, I thought I need to smell this. I just hope it's going to be good. They've sent me like a little vial in that box. That was the lid of the box that you just saw there. So I need to kind of... Okay, that wasn't so hard. I need to release this, and there's my little vial. Puredistance is actually another brand that has kind of ups and downs. Off the top of my head, I really do like their leather, which I think is called M. Pretty sure it's called M, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. In fact, that was the one that I included in my perfume guidebook. The one thing that I'm thinking might make this one be pretty good is that it's by Antoine Lee, who is a genius of a perfumer. He's made wonderful, wonderful things, particularly for État Libre d'Orange. He was the guy who made Rien for État Libre. So perhaps he's pulled something pretty spectacular out of the bag for Puredistance. Anyway, this is Warszawa, or Warsaw. If anyone from Poland is watching, apart from my mum, she's welcome too, but I mean hello to other people. All right, let's have a look. Oh, okay. Quite an old schooly. Joe says, I thought Warszawa was an exclusive release. Yeah, I think you're right, but I think it's going to start off being exclusive and then it's going to move. Perhaps we'll find out more when I read the press bit, because on the back of my lid is the actual press release. Very clever. Multi-use surface. Can't put anything past those Puredistance people. Now this is old school. Oh God, now you see, you guys are going to think I'm making this up. And maybe on some level I'm just giving into the power of suggestion, but this is making me think of my Polish grandmother, which is really freaky, and I'll tell you why, because there is something about it that's making me think of Poison by Dior, and I've just realised, pardon me showing you the top of my head, maybe that made me think a little bit of Poison subconsciously as well. I wonder if they're channeling a kind of 80s Poison vibe. No, this is intriguing. You may have to give me a moment here. We've had a bit of an 80s theme so far. Well, 80s and 70s. Men's in a bad way, Lalique in a good way. This is very lush. I've said Poison, which you may have gathered means I'm thinking of tuberose, and it's got that syrupy, berry-like, fruity, sort of blackberries and black currants, that sort of oozing fruit. What's the Christina Rossetti poem? Is it Goblin Market? About I can't remember now, and I should remember because I've taught that poem many a time. But it's got lots and lots of descriptions of very, very sexualized fruit. It's all of that kind of stuff that you get from the opening of this. And certainly vanilla, ambery notes. So this is big. It's bold, and I guess maybe it's trying to tap into the old world glamour of Warsaw, because it has to be said, and I try to say this with genuine objectivity. I love Warsaw. I have a lot of affection for Warsaw, and I've spent a lot of time there. In fact, I spent most of my summers there as a child. But it's not the prettiest city in the world. It's not particularly beautiful, especially when you compare it to Prague or cities in the south of Poland. But it has character, it has grit. I mean, part of the reason why it's not very beautiful is because 90% of it was destroyed at the end of the Second World War, and then it had to be rebuilt really quickly, and it wasn't rebuilt with as much attention to aesthetics as it could have been. But even so, if you watch a film like, for instance, Roman Polanski's The Pianist, which I do not think is a fantastic film, but worth watching anyway, you get a sense that in the 30s and 40s, Warsaw would have had that early 20th century glamour. And maybe this is what that is tapping into. I feel myself having gone all subdued now. Anyway, let's have a look at what it says here. A dreamy world of old-time chic, inspired by the class and elegance of Polish women and the rich history of the city of Warsaw, Warszawa evokes the grandeur of the golden days of fashion and perfume. This perfume has style, warmth, great depth of character, and will make you feel beautiful in a lush way. Okay, perhaps something lost in translation there, but never mind. If you care for classic feminine beauty, Puredistance Warszawa will unveil a dreamy world of old-time chic. Warszawa is created by the world-renowned perfumer Antoine Lie, inspired by visuals, a short movie by founder of the brand, and Chopin's Nocturne No. 20. Let's all go and listen to Chopin's Nocturne No. 20. Antoine Lie has created a timelessly beautiful fragrance, and Warszawa comes as a pure perfume extrait, 25%. Okay, so that will also explain, because this stuff smells heavy. I mean, I think I did, 2 sprays on this blotter, and it's pretty much filled the room. The notes, according to this, are galbanum and grapefruit and violet leaf. Okay. I would imagine that the function of those materials there is to give the body lift. You don't smell this and think grapefruit or green, but it does have tremendous radiance, so maybe that's what those materials are doing. Jasmine Absolute, Broom Absolute, Orris Butter, Yeah, they're saying jasmine. To my mind, it's still kind of veering towards tuberose, patchouli, vetiver, and styrax. This is retro, and in case anybody's wondering, by the way, I know I keep referring to Barbara Alavi. That is my mum, in case you hadn't worked it out. She's asking why is it called Warszawa, and I haven't got the email in front of me that I received from the Puredistance people, but it's basically because this perfume is going to be exclusive to, at least for a while, to a range of perfumeries in Poland, and I think because that range of perfumeries has stopped Puredistance, they decided it might be nice for them to have a Warsaw exclusive perfume, so that's why it's Warszawa. There's real shades of poison here. It actually almost smells more like poison than current poison does. If any of you have got a few drops of the old Esprit de Parfum of Dior's Poison, this is heading in that direction because of the beautiful base notes as well. They haven't mentioned vanilla, but there's definitely a vanilla feel here. I'm really taken with this, so I would say thumbs up to Puredistance for this one so far. That's rather special. But I wonder how it'll do for them, because retro stuff is all well and good for the likes of us, for the likes of people who will tune in to a Facebook Live event on perfume. But I don't know how well retro does elsewhere. But then maybe the taste of perfume connoisseurs in Poland is geared towards a retro feel. Maybe they know what they're doing. Yeah. I'm more taken aback by that one than I thought I would be. Glad you said about the poison formula. It's changed a lot, says Ross. Yes, it has. But when I say that... Oh, Anne says, intriguing description. I imagine Chopin's Nocturne 22 smells romantic and melancholy. Yes, I guess so. I'm going to find it on YouTube when we finish this. But to go back to the changed ingredients... Yes, obviously poison, the formula of poison will have changed a lot, but I don't want to say that and just leave it there as though that is Dior's fault. It won't be entirely Dior's fault. I mean, yes, okay, at some point brands themselves may decide they may need to take cost-cutting measures and go for cheaper substitutes of certain ingredients, but more often than not it's because, I'm sure as you know, it's because of anti-allergen regulations and things like that. Current poison isn't terrible, I don't think, at all. I still think it's one of the best perfumes in the current Dior portfolio. And if you can also get the current version of the Extrait that was done by François Demachy, that's actually pretty good. But the original is very, very special, and this comes close to it. Conscious of time, I think we should do Le Frenchy, because that was a specific request from Joe. This is another one that I have smelled already. In fact, I've worn it a few times, and I'm very pleased to proclaim and to let you know that I like it. I would even go so far as to say that I love it, but then it's quite easy to love. The whole point of this one is that it's not trying to be demanding. Some of you will have realised from this wooden bottle that this is in the Parisien range of perfumes. So it's exclusive to certain outlets. In the UK, I want to say they're exclusive to Harrods, but I'm not sure. But they're certainly not available in the places where you get all of the regular Guerlain stuff. This is very easy to love, very easy to describe, because you smell it. Have you actually smelt it, Joe? I'm intrigued to know if you have. And it's you get straight away that this is essentially trying to be an uplifting cologne with a more substantial base. So you get lots of citrus notes, which are heavy on verbena. And to me, I guess the way I differentiate between verbena and something like lemon is that verbena has got a lot of bite to it, but it's also got a kind of woodier quality to it. But what comes through quite quickly as well is that you know it's going to have a vetiver base, and there's been a lot of controversy about whether Le Frenchy is a good name. I think it's a fun name for a fun perfume. There's something Victorian about it. You almost imagine, Well, no, I take that back. There isn't something Victorian about it. There is something very self-consciously, there's something very 21st century about it, but like a kind of hip or cool young guy self-consciously channeling a retro vibe. So somebody who is young, but likes wearing, do you wear a moustache? But likes sort of growing an old style moustache where he sort of curls the ends because he wants to channel a Victorian vibe. Joe says, no, I have not smelled Le Frenchy. Guerlain is unfortunately not easily accessible in my neck of the woods. And I've forgotten where that is, Joe. I've forgotten whether you've told me, so apologies if you have already told me. It is delightful, and actually, funnily enough, each time I've worn it, people have sort of done the usual, oh wow, you smell nice. But after that top, it segues very, very quickly into a vetiver base, and as has been pointed out, Karina says, not a hipster. No, let's not say a hipster, let's just say a cool young guy. And Maria says, Guerlain does easy lately, don't they? I guess, but what, with all of them, do you think, Maria? But mind you, they do it well. I mean, mind you, Louis wasn't particularly easy, or is that us being a little bit too harsh and sort of thinking that perfumes are easy just because we quite like them? I think what they've done with their latest Petite Robe Noire, the black version, what is it called? Black Perfecto or something? I think that's very good. Maybe not sufficiently different from the others to warrant being put into its own bottle, but it is good. But where was I going? As has been pointed out by the ultimate authority on all things Guerlain, the one and only Monsieur Guerlain, praise be, this very much becomes like Thierry Vasser's L'Eau Boisée version of Guerlain Homme, which was one of the best versions of Guerlain Homme because it presented vetiver in quite a restrained, understated, completely unsweaty way. It managed to be undemanding and nice to wear without being stupid, which isn't always easy to do. Now, bear with me on this one. So we've already said that this very much resembles Thierry Vasser's L'Eau Boisée version of Guerlain Homme. But apparently what Le Frenchy also is Thierry Vasser's Eau de Parfum version of an old Guerlain Eau de Verveine made by Jacques Guerlain at the beginning of the 20th century, not to be confused with an Eau de Verveine made by Jean-Paul Guerlain, I think in the 80s. Are you with me? So, the kernel of what I'm trying to get across is that this is basically an Eau de Parfum of an old formula. Thierry Vasser has made no secret of the fact that he loves Jacques Guerlain's style, and so I'm not at all surprised if he was, going through some of the old Guerlain formulas and thinking, oh, which one shall I update, what shall I do? And it is like he has taken an old school verbena, an old school citrus, and placed it on a very, very modern translucent woody base. And there isn't a lot else to say about this, apart from the fact that it really works. I could see myself thinking that I'm going to take this on holiday somewhere. I had to do some recording in a radio studio lately, on which maybe more later, and I immediately reached for this because I thought, okay, I'm going to be in a confined space with other people. I have to wear perfume because I'm Persolaise, and Persolaise can't leave the house without perfume, but I also don't want people to be, sick of the smell of me. And it is that kind of thing. And even though it's being marketed as one of the men's Parisien scents, there is absolutely no reason why a woman couldn't wear it. In fact, it would probably be very, very interesting on a woman. So Le Frenchy definitely gets a thumbs up from me. And I can't believe 10 to 7 my time already, or 11 to 7. But like I said, I will allow this episode to go just a tiny bit longer because I think I want to show you something that made me tickle when I was given it, and so you might have a laugh at it as well. But before I show it to you, thank you very much for tuning into episode 8 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise. Thank you so much to the people who take the time and effort to watch live and to interact. The interactions really make this so much more fun for me. I do appreciate all your comments and your insights. I learn, I think, much, much more from you than you do from me. But if you're watching after the broadcast, thanks very much. And if you're watching on YouTube, thank you very much as well. A big shout out to all of my YouTube viewers. Please leave a comment there and give me a thumbs up, and give me thumbs up and hearts and things like that on Facebook. Now, okay, we started with lavish packaging, and we will end with fairly lavish packaging, but in a very bling Dubai way. Now, I said that Warsaw is a city that is close to my heart. Dubai I have a lot of affection for as well, because I actually did quite a lot of my growing up in Dubai, and apparently this is the spirit of Dubai. Now, how many of you know about this brand? This isn't something you can buy. Anne says, very happy I remember to tune in today. Watching live is fun. Thank you very much for tuning in. Where are you based, Anne, if you don't mind my asking? And if you already told me half an hour ago, sorry, my brain has just been frazzled by an invasion of Vikings. Can't think why. This is a kind of, it's a gift that I guess is given to maybe loyal customers, but it was also what I was given as a member of the press to sort of find out about the Spirit of Dubai range. Hang on, what's the best way of doing this? You know, I don't have a problem with bling. A lot of people I speak to tell me that they can't understand how I can keep going back to, oh yeah, sorry, Pennsylvania. Oh, so you're the lady from Pennsylvania. Thank you very much. Right, now we know. A lot of people, when I tell them that I enjoy going to Harrods, a lot of people kind of pull a face and they say, oh, how can you stand it? It's so awful. I love Harrods. I think Harrods does what it does unbelievably well, because I am partial to a bit of bling. But I think, oh, look at the lighting effect when I do that. But I think if you're going to do bling, there is no point in doing bling in a kind of half-baked, half-measures sort of way. You need to go to town and do bling, which also means that you need to have a lot of money behind you to do bling. What's the Dolly Parton quote about how it costs a lot to look this cheap? There is some truth in that. You know, if you want to do trashy to the point where it actually stops being trashy and you just go, you know, take me now, oh gods of blingness. And this brand, Spirit of Dubai, does it so well. If you are in Knightsbridge in London, their shop is just opposite Harrods. Do take the opportunity to go in, because they do over-the-top Dubai bling in the most wonderful way. We can't smell everything here. This is the most fantastic kit that I've been given, because it's not just perfumes, it's also scented ceramics, it's also body lotions, etc. The vials, how can I do this without wrecking the room? The vials, you know, you can't just do a perfume vial just in a box or on a card. If you're from Dubai, you have to have this kind of contraption. Right, is this going to work? Are you watching? You have to go, it's not going to work. You go, whoop. So you get an image of the perfume, and then you get the vial, which is actually quite a generous vial. But in all seriousness, they have a lot of perfumes. They have one generation of perfumes, and each one is inspired by a different aspect of Dubai. So there's one that's meant to represent the sea, there's one that's meant to represent the incredible architecture. Joe says, do it again. This is going to be my party trick. Watch, Joe. Watch what Spirit of Dubai can do. This is the pleasure of pop-up books. Do kids still read pop-up books now? Oh, wasn't it? They were the best, weren't they? Where you kind of make different things. I could do this for hours, but I won't. So yeah, a perfume inspired by the amazing architecture in Dubai, a perfume inspired by hospitality, the concept of hospitality. But they also do an oud. Now, I will have to tell you how much it costs, because that will kind of just make most of us go, oh well, I guess I won't ever be buying that. But their oud, I don't have in this kit, I don't have a sample of the oud perfume, but I have a sample of the body lotion of the oud that they've done. Have I got the right one? Yeah. And it is just called oud. You can't really see very well here. But this stuff is good. I am going to tell you how much it costs. So, body lotion. Look, I'm applying on skin, Joe. Maria says, I really like Majalis. I visited their store. I can't remember that one, but I'd have to look at their notes. And Maria, do you agree? If you're going to do bling, they do it really well. You just have to go with it. You have to give in. Right. Oud body lotion, just one little squirt. Joe, are you impressed? Oh, I'm already smelling this stuff. It's like there's this barn of camels that's... Oh, but it's so good. It's really, really good. It is everything that the Creed is not, except for the fact that it's about 4 times more expensive. Oh, now I'm just like walking in a shopping mall in Dubai, and there are these, you know, a group of like, I don't know, 6 or 7 women in abayas, and I'm just kind of following their scent, going, take me to the Oud Fairy, and you're just sort of wafting this barnyard. But if you can think of a barnyard as being the most foul smelling and also somehow the most sophisticated, most gorgeous place in the world, that is what good oud does. It really is the sacred and the profane at the same time. I'm not even going to go into a description of oud, but now that I'm smelling this, a few years ago I published something on my blog, a kind of definitive guide to my favourite oud perfumes, and I called it Kicking Up a Stink. So if you just search Persolaise Kicking Up a Stink or Persolaise Guide to Oud Perfumes, you will find my prose description of oud, the best way that I know how to convey what the smell of oud is. So have a look at that. And this just does it so well. It is leathery and sensual and carnal, and yet and full of life, and really, really hot, really sunbaked. You know, I'm just back in that humidity of the Middle East. It's good stuff. Now, are you ready for this? This particular press release is on my iPad because I just got it as a PDF. So is this going to work? Right, I need to scroll through. Dubai Oud. Okay, are you ready for this, people? 50 mils, and it does come in 100 ml as well. 50 mils of eau de parfum is, you're going to hate me now, is £835. So, as wonderful as it is, I probably would have to say, if you've got that kind of money, you might just as well buy Frederic Malle's The Night, which is still really, really expensive, but not as expensive as this, and just as good. I mean, Frederic Malle's The Night is also just beyond beautiful. I'm pretty sure I meant to add it to my guide to oud perfumes. I can't remember if I did. The press release says, a fragrance that is inspired by mankind's achievement and the strength of his ambitions. Funnily enough, that kind of sounds a little bit like the Viking press release, but here you kind of go along with it. Karina says, what? Yeah, I know, £835, but in all honesty, and seriously, I do mean this, I would rather forego 8 £100 bottles and just think to myself, okay, that's one £100 bottle I didn't buy, that's another £100 bottle I didn't buy, and just wait and get this. I mean, everybody makes their own judgments about what they spend their money on, but there are plenty of £100 perfumes out there that are just awful, whereas this, oh, this is so good. I mean, what is unfortunate is that you're paying a lot for the bottle, because they have made the bottles quite lavish. You almost wish that they'd made the bottles refillable, so that you could just then buy the refill if you're not particularly bothered about the bottle. But yeah, £835. Stick that in your Christmas stocking. A mystical blend of incense, bergamot, and pure natural Indian agar wood. This scent is a true reflection of the Orient, to which I think I would only add, yeah, it really is. It pretty much is. This is the real McCoy. I mean, I'm sure it contains some synthetic ouds as well. Maybe it's mostly synthetic oud, but it maintains the illusion. And I've squirted some of that body lotion here before. That didn't sound right. You know what I meant about squirting body lotion. Right? This stuff lasts forever, so I would imagine the eau de parfum also lasts for a long time. If you have £800 lying around, you know, who needs to eat? So I think we can safely say that that brings us to the end of episode 8. I should just have a very quick sniff of the other blotters. And by the way, what I've been doing in the past is that round about the 4 or 5 hour mark, I smell the blotters again, and then I post a little status update underneath this video on Facebook to tell you how the blotters are doing. Barbara says, this is weird reading messages from my mum. Such a lovely hour with you, Persolaise. Thank you, Mummy. Big surprise, the Warszawa fragrance. Thanks to you, know about it. Thanks a lot. And Spirit of Dubai, you moved me back. Yeah, well, this would move most people. So watch out for the status update on my Facebook page. Great episode, says Ross. Thank you very much for tuning in. Let's smell these now. So, yeah, this is that Warsaw one. Okay, it's becoming leatherier now. In an old school way again, you know, I'm thinking maybe like of an old Hermès or... And Antoine Lee is very, very good at leather notes. He's particularly good at using the Animalis base, which is very animalic. Hi, Mrs. Persolaise. No, see, she's not Mrs. Persolaise. Mrs. Persolaise is my wife. She's Mama Persolaise. So you need to get it right. You need to get there. Oh, what's this? Oh, God, see, it's Viking again. Oh! Well, you will be reassured to know that it still smells foul. Oh, actually, goodbye. Right, and this is Captive Illusion. Okay, but it's being overpowered by Warsaw because that Warsaw scent is really quite powerful. Oh, and Le Frenchy, yeah, Le Frenchy, I've only just sprayed. Fresh, delightful, easygoing. But even though we started with the Lalique, mustn't dismiss that. I think this stuff has got a lot of class. Captive Illusion. Linda says, what a great break in the day. I should have been working. This was better. Well, don't worry, we won't tell. But go off and get some work done now. So, a massive thank you to all of you again. It's always really, really wonderful spending this time with you. And leave a comment on YouTube. Oh, and I remember the last thing I meant to say to you. On my blog tomorrow at about midday UK time, I will be publishing a very special post. So see if you can catch up with Persolaise.com at some point tomorrow. Until then, be good and stay away from Vikings. Take care.